Just to introduce ourselves, so this session is about a visionary, a realist and an optimist all walk into a Teams room, not a pub. So I'm the visionary. I'm predicting why use Viva. I'm an MVP of 5 years, and my background is corporate communications in the pharmaceutical industry of about 15 years, and then over the last 5 years, user adoption with Yammer, Microsoft Teams, and now Viva. So I'm going to introduce the Viva Realist, and she's going to share snapshots of how to use Viva. So Sarah, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so my name's Sarah Fenner. I'm a Microsoft certified trainer primarily. I've been a trainer for over 20 years, Microsoft certified for 15, but you don't get t-shirt for 15.
And we have, thank you, and the Viva Optimist, and she's going to navigate what is being shipped over the coming months and the roadmap. So Moretta, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Yes, Merete SharePoint maybe Merete SharePoint Optimist Yeah, I work for Cloudway, helping customers find the value of whatever solutions they have in Microsoft 365. MVP and Microsoft certified trainer as well. So love competence sharing. So this is going to be a great session. So back to you, Leslie.
Thank you. So we have actually this hasn't hang on a second, this hasn't updated, but never mind. We've got this idea of empathic leadership, and this is now regarded as priceless in a successful hybrid workplace, and this is the ability to understand the needs of employees from managers to frontline workers and be aware of their feelings and thoughts. And when we started talking about this idea of empathic leadership well, a couple of months ago now, Moretta and I started to think about and Sarah thinking, who is the most empathic leader that we could think of? And we were like, well, it's Satya Nadella. And then we found this wonderful quote from him. It's saying, over the past year or more now, no area has undergone more rapid transformation than the way we work. Employee expectations are changing, and we will need to define productivity much more broadly, inclusive of collaboration, learning and well-being. I won't read the whole quote, but this is where it went on to them, I think, designing Viva. But what is Viva? So it's an employee experience platform, and employee experience is not a new term. It's been in the HR world for quite a long time, and really it's the employee experience is what it actually is, what it feels like from the moment that you are hired by a company to the moment that you leave. That might be 3 months. You might not get through your probation period, and you might be out again for whatever reason. That it, I think the other thing, I wrote a blog yesterday, and I titled it "Employees Leave Managers. They don't leave companies." And it might be that probation period, you just didn't get on with the manager, or you just didn't get on with the culture of the company, or you might stay for 15 to 20 years. So that's the employee experience. It's that journey, and it might be around well-being and engagement, growth and development, your upskilling. It could be around your purpose and alignment, your objectives and your key results, which is what Ally is coming into to Viva towards the end of the year. It might be about culture of communications, and it might be how you are able to or not able to share your knowledge and expertise. So that's kind of like what the employee experience is within an organization, and we've all experienced it, whether we realized it or not, that it was called that. So Viva, so Microsoft have called their employee experience program Viva, and within Viva there are these 5 modules, but you're mostly going to be hearing about the 4 modules, which is Viva Insights, which is productivity and well-being, Viva Connections, culture and communications, learning, upskilling and growth, Viva Topics, knowledge and expertise. And then we've got this new one, well, they're all pretty new, of Ally coming in. We'll hopefully be hearing more about that by the end of the year. So we just wanted to point out that Viva is not new. So we've drawn up this model, three of us, and it's through the lens of Microsoft Teams Discover reimagined existing features, plus it's enhanced with artificial intelligence and machine learning, and that's what gives you the full Viva suite. So we've got SharePoint and Yammer is basically driving Viva Connections. You've got Exchange and Workplace Analytics. So your mailbox and your calendar and workplace analytics, which has been there for donkey's years, is driving Viva Insights. And then you've got SharePoint and maybe third-party learning management systems is the driving force of Viva Learning. And then the new part is Viva Topics, and that's where the AI and machine learning come in. So we just wanted to point that out to you, that there is a lot of seeded features, as this term seeded, which is basically mean what you've got at your fingertips now that you can actually use within Viva. And Sarah is going to explain to the licensing of what you can do now, and then what you've got to, which are the premium features, of which is what you've got to pay extra for. So we're first going to dive into Viva Insights, and this is the focus for your HR colleagues, for organisational development, and of course IT and managers. And it's about this phrase from Microsoft: working smarter, not harder. And it's looking at Viva Insights for productivity and for well-being. And we put on here on each, not on every slide, but the way for our novices, the way you reach this new content, we put a little box round where you actually go to in the left rail of Teams, as you'll see that on the slides as we go forward. I'm just going to take a drink of water. So this is a little video. So this is the Viva Insights homepage. It highlights focus work to help you block time to really concentrate, and coaching time perhaps with your manager. And it can also help you set time for personal learning or training. It also recommends regular breaks with the meditation app Headspace. And you can also end your workday and take a virtual commute. This section uses AI to go through your email conversations and calendar of activities and conversations, and suggest relevant tasks at the end of your day to prepare for the next day. And then we've got Managers Insights, and that's available on the My Team page. These are insights to help managers encourage healthy, successful teams. And here the manager will click on the employee experience page, and they can see if their team is at risk of being burned out. It's such an American phrase. So they can view a recommended plan to see tips, ideas, and start a process to help their employees develop healthier work habits. So that was a quick overview of what Viva Insights is about. It's really quick, so sorry about that. But there's two ways of looking at Viva Insights at this time. It used to be called the Cortana briefing email. That's now been renamed your Viva briefing email, and that should, if you have it switched on in your organisation, that should pop up as near enough like the first email you get in the morning, and that will tell you, give you an idea of what's coming up in the day, and what tasks you've got to complete, and what meetings you are going to. So it's really useful, and we do find when we talk about this at these sessions that we have people saying, oh, I've seen that, I never bothered to open it. It's actually really useful. And then at the end of the day, if you've got it switched on, you'll get the another message coming up from Teams as an alert. And that's kind of like the idea of virtual commute. It's kind of like the same information again, but it's kind of like about 12 hours on, and it's giving you the next kind of like what's happening tomorrow, you know, your activities and your tasks. So it's coming to you in two different ways. So I'm now going to hand over to the Viva Realist with her camera. Oh, we forgot to use our props.
I've got mine. I'm going to take a picture.
I've got a prop of my binoculars, and I'm going to look out the window.
I even lost my maps.
Yeah.
I need to
Right.
find it.
So Sarah's got
we're going to find it. Okay.
Sarah's got her snapshot
look
camera.
So I'm taking a snapshot, click, of the current features in Viva Insights. And I'm going to talk first of all about these seeded features, these default features that we've got. So we've got this home tab, we've got the stay connected, we've got the protect time, we've got that ability to see what we've got coming up, to book focus time in our schedule, etc. Okay. So the things we can do today, we can protect time in our calendar from Viva Insights in Teams. We can take our mindfulness breaks and use the headspace meditation sessions to really give yourself that break. You've got your focus time that you can book through Viva Insights, and also block out that time in your calendar so people don't book you. Because that's the big thing, isn't it? People putting things in your calendar. We're okay at putting it in ourselves, but other people book us out and fill it up too much. And then the virtual commute at the end of the day, just to give you that gap between work and home. I know I used to spend a lot of time in the car traveling after training sessions, and it does just give you that gap. So that's a really useful tool as well. Okay, so to get started with Viva Insights, we've got a very simple approach with just the seeded features. You basically switch it on from the Teams Admin Center, from Microsoft 365 Admin Center, and then go and approve the app in the Teams Admin Center. Really, really simple. You've also got then the premium features, which take a little bit more setting up because those are using the workplace analytics components. Okay, and that takes a little bit more configuring. Leslie brought up earlier the My Organisation and the My Team. I just want to point out that privacy is not optional in this tool. Okay, privacy is baked in. This is my organisation, Viva Insights, and because I only have 5 people licensed, I can't see most of these metrics because it would be obvious which individual that related to. So the privacy is not an option. If there's not enough information to show you these stats without it being obvious which individual it is, you won't see them. Okay, which also means you really need a lot more than 5 people to make it worthwhile. Okay, so here we go. This is the comparison of the different licenses. So when we talk about the seeded features, we're talking about the ones that are included in your Microsoft 365 license. You've got the Viva Insights, where you can purchase just the Viva Insights license and extend it into the My Team and the My Organisation. But you can also license Viva as a suite, as an add-on to your Microsoft 365 plan, and that's where we get a lot of the integration features. There's a lot of these things that say coming soon, so I'm going to hand over to my Optimist to give us the roadmap of what's coming next.
Thank you, Sarah. And actually, now I found my map. Yay! So now we can navigate in this world of wonder. Yes, so maybe I can go to the next slide. Here we go. The Microsoft Viva or Viva Insight roadmap. There's a lot of good things already there, and some things are released now this month, so it could pop up any day, basically. Some might come a little later in the year, and there are many good functionalities and features on the roadmap, but it will take too much time to talk about all of it, so I'm just gonna choose a couple of ones. And one is the effective meeting, which is coming also, I think, end of March or during March, because we are already having effective meetings. So I hope in some cases, but when the experience that they are mentioning here when it comes to effective meetings is that the meetings organizers will be able to view personal insights more than they see today, and also suggestions to improve the meeting habits. So it's going to be even more improved than it is today, with good suggestions. And I guess you already seen if you have started to use the commute that Leslie talked about, you might have discovered that in the end of the day, you can see it pops up some emails where you have written that I want to do something or I'll get back to you. And it comes up as a suggestion for a task, which is kind of neat. So that these things also will be improved when it comes to meeting tips, basically how you can improve your meeting habits. So it's really, really great. And one thing that you can do already today, which is already there, is the delivery delay delivery. Oh, excuse me, delivery plan. And what do we mean by that? Let's say, for instance, last week I wanted to send Leslie an email, and we live in different time zones. So her day starts an hour later than mine. But then if I send an email, she might be disturbed if she hasn't put on the notification that she doesn't want to be disturbed after work hours or before work hours. So maybe she will be awakened if she has a big pling in her phone that I have sent her an email a long time before she was supposed to start her day, or maybe even in the evening when she was supposed to not be working. So what I can do, if you go to your email and start a new email, and you don't see anything special, you will see just the to field and the subject and the text field and all of that. But if I write in the name, nothing's going to happen immediately. But if I go to the 3 little dots in the top right corner of my email, and I click on the add-in insight, and then I go back to writing Leslie's name in the to field, then there will be a little text above saying that this email, if I, for instance, are writing this email to her on a Thursday, it will tell me that this email will only be delivered on Monday, because in Cloudway we have implemented what we call meeting-free Fridays, which we in the settings on Viva Insight have made those days to off work, so that it's not considered as a work day. But of course it is a work day, but we are trying to avoid regular meetings. Of course, if we need to have one, we do that. So that way, as her work days are Monday to Thursday, when I try to send her an email on Thursday afternoon, it will not be delivered before Monday because her time is protected. She can choose how to use that time. So that is a good thing that you can use in this enabling the day delivery in Outlook, which is really neat. And it's part of Insight. So that is, yeah. Then we can go to the next, I think, because we have so many other new features coming along for the other areas as well. So it's back to you, Leslie. Muted. There you go.
We've just got, thank you, Maretta. So we've just got 2 business benefits that we're pointing out after each of the modules. So here we've got iWork. He's an HR manager who's collating staff feedback using the annual staff survey, which can take months to collate and share, and often can be inexpensive, as might be outsourced to a third party. But we've got here, oops, hang on a second, it's not, here we go. So instead we've got, they can now, with Viva Insights, HR can now share corporate-wide plans to improve well-being using tools that quickly support complex staff challenges and map reactions. So this is enabling easy-to-reach shared content. And then we've got another one here. The senior leader is frustrated.
Leslie, are you taking over? Sorry to interrupt you, but I think it doesn't show the movement.
Oh,
maybe you should take over.
I'm seeing the movement.
Okay.
Oh, great.
Sync the presenter. I forgot.
There we go. So then we've got here a senior leader is frustrated at not having his finger on the pulse of the company and might be finding it difficult to measure how the brand or the products or the culture is landing with staff. But with Viva, he's now got, or she's now got, data-driven visibility into how work patterns affect well-being and productivity and business performance. So quick access to company content and able to, it's just got a temperature check on the organisation really fast, rather than waiting for that staff survey that could be 3 months, 4 months out of date by the time it actually is published. So this is, real in-time data. And we're going to now move on. So that's basically Insights, which could we could talk about that for 3 hours in its own right. So it's a lot of information, but we're now going to move on to the next module, which is culture and communications with connections. So this is the dream really for your communications teams, and who are basically helping us stay engaged no matter where we are. And it includes a feed of news and conversations and company events surfaced on a modern SharePoint site. And it can also include Yammer if you're using that in your company. And you get the same, pretty much the same experience on your mobile, which is absolutely brilliant. So you can now reach frontline workers like you've never been able to reach them before. And it provides a personalised dashboard for your company resources, perhaps maybe booking a safe desk or submitting expense claims or monitoring your company's incentives or maybe requesting a holiday. This can now all be done by frontline workers from their own phones potentially. Viva Connections can be customised for a role. And the example that was that's shown here is for a retail store cashier who was clocking in directly from their dashboard from their phone. So that's the example of a frontline worker using their own phones. So I'm going to hand back to the Realist.
So here we go. This is Viva Connections in my tenant today. Taking my snapshot again. Don't forget to take my picture, otherwise it might change before I get there. And this is using the modern SharePoint intranet, pulling the button into the Teams client, and when I click back onto the button, I can pull up my global navigation to really give my users full access across the whole of our SharePoint intranet here. And this is the same site on mobile. Okay, and you can see that we've got the dashboard and the feed bringing in the news articles, and then under resources you've got all of those links. One top tip here, put a link to your home page as a card on the dashboard, because it gives your mobile only users quick and easy access to that SharePoint page. They don't have to go to the resources tab first of all. Okay. 4 steps to set it up. That first one is a huge step. If you haven't got a modern SharePoint intranet, setting up a modern SharePoint intranet can be a big piece of work. So please don't think that's a tiny little thing, but you need a SharePoint intranet. You then set your SharePoint intranet page as the home site, which is done by your SharePoint admin. Configure that global navigation, and then deploy the Viva Connections app. So simply the Teams administrator makes the app available to the users. So once you've got your SharePoint intranet, the rest is actually really quite simple to do. Yes, we can take it a lot further by pulling in some really clever little cards, and we do need a programmer to really take advantage of those cards to pull in, like booking in your desk, etc., submitting expenses, those little cards that gave those extra features. But that's where we can really start to add a lot of power. And we can display those cards on the SharePoint intranet home site as well, to make them available not just to our mobile first users, but to our desktop based users as well. This is the easy one for licensing. It's all included. Okay. Viva Connections. If you've got a SharePoint license, SharePoint Online license in your Microsoft 365 environment, there is no additional licensing needed. So that was a simple one. But what's coming next, Maretta? What's on the roadmap?
Yeah, let's have a look. And where do you want to go? Have we decided where we want to go? How far? How many hours are we going to use? And when it comes to that, you know, you can compare it to going for a drive, and some places there are different roads that you can take. You can take the shortest one, but that short road could actually have bumps in the road. It could be a lot of, you know, slow driving, speed zone areas. So it might end up that that short road might take you a lot longer time. If you then instead take the highway, which might be better roads, wider, and you can drive faster, like to drive fast, right? Then it might be longer, but it's faster to drive. So there are, why am I talking about this? Because just I want to bring back a little bit what Sarah was saying initially, that hard part in the beginning, if you don't have SharePoint as an intranet as of today. The hard part is not the technology here. The hard part is to actually get the ownership of the content and who should do it and all the roles. And what is important, whether you have a SharePoint, a modern SharePoint intranet today, or you have EpiServer or older SharePoint that you need to kind of switch into modern SharePoint, it's important that you create your own roadmap for that process so that you include who should be part of that journey, who should be responsible for the gasoline, who should be responsible to bring the food that you need on your journey, and what should be part of that journey and where you should go. But yeah, that's a little bit of a side trip there, but it's important that we are making a plan for ourselves, because the functionality is there, the technology is there, but you will not have success if you are not making a good plan for how you're going to use it and how you're going to move forward with your internal communications. And it is, as Sarah said, very powerful. And there's a lot of good features coming, and some are already there. And there are this dashboard, these cards that Sarah was talking about, these adaptive cards, where you can link to Teams, you can link to different pages as well. But it will also have, you also had the possibility now to create multilingual dashboards so that you can have, for instance, Norwegian resources, English resources, Belgian resources eventually. So you pay attention to the roadmap and see which language is coming on board, which can be really good, because that way, if you have an international company, you could have adaptive cards that are targeted to different locations in their own language, which is really, really neat. And also in organizations, you usually have some bookmarking of authoritative content. Now you can actually bring that into these topic cards and the pages, which is also quite interesting. So that's going to be very exciting, and you bring that forward into these adaptive cards. So it's a moving and very exciting tool moving forward. All right. So what do the visionaries see for the next area of topic?
So the business benefits for Connections is someone is saying here they want to read the company news and join conversations in the same way that they do in their personal life on social media, and they can now, they've got secure company content relevant to their role, delivered on their own mobile device in the flow of their work, up to date and instant like social media. So we can't express kind of like this is the real game changer here, is the fact that you can now connect your intranet to your employees that are not your knowledge workers, the people on the front line, whoever they are, retail, production lines, wherever they are, people that are in logistics and things like that. They can use their personal phones to reach company content. And if you want to know more about that, then please just get in contact with any of us and we can explain how that can be done quite easily now. So another business benefit here is that like me, this person used to work in communications and spends a lot of effort and money on their old intranet app, but it has frustrating limitations. But now they've rolled out global navigation, and together with the mobile experience via Teams, and staff love it. This is quick access to company content. So that was Connections. excuse me, I'm so bunged up. We're now going to go into Viva Learning around upskilling and personal growth and making learning a natural part of your day. Sorry, I'm going so fast, but we've got so much good stuff to share with you. So this is my Viva Learning view, and you'll find content that's been allocated to you alongside a variety of other third-party training resources, including LinkedIn Learning and Microsoft Learn. At the top here, we can see a course allocated to me, and I can open this in LinkedIn Learning module directly on Teams without switching out applications. And Learning is also integrated into chat and conversations and making it easy for us all to find and share content with each other. So we got here the manager's experience. So to keep people's skills up to date, once they've identified a learning activity, they can allocate training to individuals or groups with an informal message and completion date. And by clicking the manage assignments, managers can see their assignments and click the status to track the status of a particular course. So the latter part of that, the managers kind of like management and recommendations, that is still to come, but Maretta will explain that on the roadmap. So part of this you can do now, which is the Realist stuff, and some of it we're still waiting on. So I will hand back to the Realist to explain what you can do now.
Okay, so this is Viva Learning on my PC today. Again, a Teams app that we can deploy and use from there. And on mobile, again, we can access Viva Learning on our mobile devices, usually through the More button, because we've got so many other things that are more instant access needed than Viva Learning. It can be very, very simple to deploy. In the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, we basically switch on Viva Learning. Okay. But if you want to have your own content in there, you also need to nominate a SharePoint site, which will hold a list of your internal learning content. Now, the learning content doesn't need to be on the same site. I personally am recommending that organisations create a dedicated site for learning because it's easier to manage the permissions if the list and the content are in one site. Okay, but we can add things to that list of learning content, and then those appear for our users in the Viva Learning app in Teams. So again, it's an app in Teams. We're going to go and approve the app. We're going to deploy it for our users, and then we can start learning. In terms of the questions that we're seeing about the LMS and how you actually have your content, Maretta's going to handle the topic of the LMS, but with regard to the content, you don't have to have your own content. Okay, you can just connect to Microsoft Learn, to the Microsoft Office materials, and other resources that are freely available, or other paid resources, and then you can bring your own in. It doesn't have to be stored in this dedicated site. It's just much easier from a permissions perspective if everything's in one place. Okay, with regard to licensing, and this also leads into the comment of what LMS functionality we're getting. The seeded content, the included in Microsoft 365, is the Viva Learning app, your custom content, and standardized content from Microsoft Learn and the Microsoft 365 materials. Okay, when we want to go further, we need to add the Viva Learning add-on itself or look at the suite. Now, I know I'm being the realist, but I'm really excited about this total integration when we look at the suite. So I'm going to have to steal just a tiny bit of the visionary and the optimist, because just imagine that time when we've got a topic and we click the link to show the topic and it takes us to the learning material, which includes our internal stuff. And I'll behave. But it is really exciting when you see all of that potential integration and where this is going to come from. But I'm going to be quiet and I'm going to hand back to Moretta to take us through the roadmap.
Thank you, Sarah. And I agree so completely with you. I mean, it is, you know, we've been training for years and holding courses and maybe help organizations to bring all the courses together. And this is like, beauty. It is, definitely. So further down the map, when it comes back to Viva Learning and Teams and LMS solutions, you have, as Sarah already mentioned, you will have a SharePoint site where you have to define what should be the learning items. And this could be from LMS, different LMS solutions that you have already in organization. Or maybe some of you have already started to use the Microsoft Learning Pathway, which is a SharePoint online communication site with Microsoft Learning playlist, basically. And you could use such a Microsoft Learning Pathway site to make that list of what should be the learning sources, because even how good all this machine learning and everything has become, still it's not telepathic. So we need to define what should be the learning. So here on the roadmap, before I go into the roadmap, before we go into this roadmap, there are certain roles that you need to define and add to your own roadmap. Who is defining what should be our learning material? Who is defining and deciding on LMS solutions? And what Viva Learning is doing is not replacing your LMS. It is bringing all your different LMS, because maybe HR have certain LMS solutions, maybe IT has certain LMS solutions, maybe security, like for instance in Security Month, you have a lot of activities going around when it comes to security awareness, etc. They have maybe their own kind of program that they're using. What Viva Learning is bringing all of this together into Teams in your hands, so then it's more integrated. And what is coming on our roadmap is more third-party learning providers into the Viva Learning, but of course somebody has to define what that should be, as well as the recommended learning content and the tracking of this completion. What has if I'm a leader, which courses have my employees already seen, which one are in progress, which is completed. But that is, then you need an extra license, as was listed up in Sarah's list previously. But all of the LinkedIn Learning, the 125 LinkedIn Learning material, as well as all of the Microsoft Learning, is already part of the Viva Learning as you are turning it on. Other than that, you need to define and you need to set it up in the back. So you need a knowledge admin and you need a knowledge manager who need to manage this information. But yes, let's move on and see what is the visionary telling us about moving forward.
Thank you. We had a great question in chat just now from Patrick in Hong Kong. So thanks for that question, Patrick. You hit the nail on the head with that question. So we've got here a business benefit is I find it time consuming monitoring, assigning my team's training activities as I've got my own work to do. And but the manager now is saying I quickly send my direct reports, links to training in a Teams channel conversation or a chat, and easily track their learning for personal development. So this is helping me focus. But that is a visionary view because we're not quite there yet. I don't have time for learning activities outside my mandatory training. And now this person is saying I'm extremely satisfied that learning now new skills is now regarded as part of my working day and my digital well-being. This is has improved my productivity. So then we're going to move on to the magic one here, which is really, really new, and that's Viva Topics. And this is about curating knowledge and expertise and turning content into usable knowledge. This is turning your tacit knowledge, turning your knowledge into tacit knowledge and knowledge which is now framed and can be shared, and you get it out of your head and it can be shared as part of a topic. So let's have a look at this. This is a lot of learning is done on the job. So Viva Topics uses AI to magically connect us to collective knowledge and experts while deep in our work. When you come across an unfamiliar word or acronym, just hover over the word and a topic card pops up, providing additional context. So if you want to know more, just click on the topic card and it takes you to a topic page where you learn more, like definitions, relevant people, different resources that already exist from Microsoft 365, from SharePoint. And also, if you've got a Yammer community, it will pop up with conversations as well. And it should also eventually be working in across Teams as well. So Viva Topics also creates a topic map to show links between related projects, helping everyone share organisational knowledge. So I will hand back to the Realist on what actually you can do at the moment.
And I have to take my own advice and be quick. So this is Viva Topics in my tenant today. I've got a very small organisation. It's basically me, but I do have over 20 years worth of training materials in here. So it does work, okay? Typically, though, you do need a much larger group of people to work with it, but it's content that needs to be actively used. And it can work for very small organisations if they have the large volume of content, etc. Okay. But generally, we're looking at larger organisations that have knowledge trapped in their content. And unfortunately, this is the one where you do have to have an extra license. But then we basically set it up with a wizard. The hardest one is step 3. It does take a week at least for the topics to populate through. You do think you've made a mistake. It does take time. Okay. Then as the topics populate through, we need to review them, augment them, add in the extra bits and publish them so that they're visible to our users. Currently, they all show up on pages in SharePoint if you mention the words. And as you'll see on the roadmap, we are very shortly getting integration into other products, into Teams messaging, Outlook messages, etc., till it permeates everywhere. And you will notice I didn't pick up my camera to start with. And that is because we are now using AI. So really, I need to upgrade my camera and go forward and use a much more modern camera, because this is where the magic starts to happen. As I say, unfortunately, it is not included in your standard license. It is an add-on, but if you do have a large volume of content, the amount of time it can save you on searching and recreating the knowledge you've already got will be worth the cost of the licensing, in my opinion. It has been for me, and that's as one person. But when are we getting all of these fancy integrations?
Oh, they're coming. They're coming. So pay attention to the roadmap. That's what we say, right? And there are so many great things coming in, and I love topics. I mean, coming from the SharePoint world, this is like music. And the thing is, you can, of course, opt out what you want to. You can, what is this Viva topic is doing is chewing on your content, as Sarah said, and popping it up on SharePoint pages that you define in a topic center, of course. And of course, you need somebody back to creating your own roadmap for this, because after a couple of weeks, when it's finished chewing, you will have all these pages popped up, and somebody needs to define what should be your published pages. When it comes to that, when you search or going to the team and you click on this word that has been underline that you realize, okay, this is a topic versus SharePoint. If I click on that SharePoint, then or even hover over, I will see a little card like we see here in the middle on the team also. And then you will have the experts. And this is a new feature that is coming into topics that, for instance, if I'm contacting IT support, they might know a lot, but they might not know everything. So instead, I can go into this word and I have this question about that topic. The experts can then show on as this person showing up on the list here. And you can also opt in as an expert, as a suggested expert. Is even a new functionality coming into this topic, Viva topic. And when I click on the page, I can even see more topics. And another beauty is that not only does Viva Topics search and find content in your SharePoint sites and your other areas, but it will also be possible to integrate with, for instance, tools like ServiceNow. So if you have your knowledge bank in ServiceNow and you use SharePoint and Teams for collaboration, you will have the combined knowledge source popped up into your Viva Topics, which makes it really a powerful tool. And you can describe your services, you can describe your main areas of interest for your organization. So very, very good. And I really recommend that deep dive into the Viva topic. Yeah, so what's in the future, Leslie?
Thanks, Maretta. So we're just going to finish off the session now. So the business benefit here is this person is new and, of course, struggling to find information on the right people and doesn't want to keep bothering colleagues. They're working from home, as we're still going to be continuing to do. But we've got this person saying, as I'm working, I hover over unusual words like acronyms and find helpful content and experts immediately. This helps me focus. And then we've got another one here that here is someone doing some great innovative work but not encouraged to share as the culture is regarded as showing off. And I actually heard that from a big public sector departments. That was actually these are real comments. But now we've got here, they're now able to, they love working out loud and they're sharing their knowledge with a view that others might find it helpful and others might help them improve their work. That is my favourite saying. This is a great work-life balance, being able to share knowledge and making it helpful to other people and improving, getting that buy-in from others and improving whatever you're working on. I'm going to skip over Ally. Kevin McDonald did a brilliant session on it, and if you it was recorded, as I understand, so there was a whole 40-minute session on what Ally is all about. So I'm going to skip over that for now, and then we're just going to do kind of a roundup here. Is what are of all those statements that I shared, we've got here: improved productivity, quick access to company content, helps us focus, easy to reach shared content, and great work-life balance, and reaches nearly most of your staff wherever they are: knowledge workers, management, leadership, frontline workers. This is what Viva, the employee experience, is really all about. So just going to close there. I think we've gone over by 3 minutes. As I said, we could have talked for hours on this subject, but we have got the Realist, the Visionary, and the Optimist. We've all got our own blogs, so just look us up on LinkedIn or Twitter, and we're blogging about the modules all the time. So there's loads of information out there. There's also, if you want to, there's a whole bunch of us now, I think about 12 of us, and probably going to add some more by the end of Teams Nation. We're now known collectively as the Viva Explorers, so you can follow that hashtag as well. So we've all got our own little personas. Kevin McDonald is the Viva Transformer. Stella Hansen is the Viva Empath. Martina Grom is the Viva Strategist. So we've all got our own personas, and we're inviting more to join us as you feel like you've kind of gone past your Viva apprenticeship, which is basically just joining a session like this, and you can join the Viva Explorers. And it's not a club, it's just a community of like-minded people. So I will move on. I think we've got the last one, which is, please can you rate our session, because it's all about continuous improvement. We all know that we can all do better at sharing our thoughts in this way, so we'd love to hear from you. So Sarah, just back to you.